Years ago, I wrote one of versions of this guide, and was rather pleased it seemed to help others. After a few years, I feel like a revision is in order, and so here we are. What follows is the original, cleaned up, now revised information, useless and repetitive bits removed, and a proper section on tips from fellow Redditors from the original thread. I apologize for the lack of updates in recent months. This will always be maintained and updated as I can. The guilt game. First things first, I need to say this. Many people will agree, this is not your fault, period. There is no excuse a creeper can make that should make you feel otherwise. Some of them are really good at using guilt. I've even met folks who blame themselves for being stalked. Everyone, male, female, transgender, gay, straight, bi, any race or religion, has the right to enjoy your life without being stalked or creeped on, period. Remember that. You didn't ask for crazy. Crazy happens. Don't let anyone fool you into thinking you asked for it. The process can be slow, charming at first, slowly making you feel bad for ignoring them, spurning them. Don't buy into it, and don't ignore the obvious signs. If no thank you isn't getting it through, it's time to consider they might not listen, no matter the setting. The name game. Make a fake name. This may seem obvious, but when put on the spot, folks forget. Many folks slip up due to fear, guilt, or just insecurity about the whole entire situation. So do this. Make a fake first and last name. Maybe think of it as a little story. Now cement this by alerting friends or even family that if you tell someone that's name, that's a signal. That person has been stalking and creeping on you, or you don't like the vibe. It's a silent signal, but trust me, with supporting friends, it won't be ignored, and the creep is none the wiser. Early tips to avoidance. First things first, stop taking shortcuts into dangerous areas. Common sense has got to be a priority here. Is being 15 minutes early to a party worth the idea of you being killed? No, it's not. It never is. Make sure at night you stick to well-lit and only well-lit areas. Streetlights are friends, especially if you think someone is following you. Look for the cop cars, security cars around. Flag one down if you're feeling unsafe. Explain the situation. Avoid dark corners especially. You'd be surprised how easily it is for someone to yank you out of the light and into a dark corner. Even a blind date should be met with alerting friends. You want folks to know where you plan to be, where you're seeing a movie, where you're eating. Every bit of information only makes your case better. Should things go south, don't be the silent victim of "I should have," even on simple internet chats, and this should go without saying, but be vague on location, name, even age, until you know the other person is not giving you weird vibes. It's only a button click to block someone, and without the vital information, like a first, last name, or town to find you, it becomes all harder to harass you. Install a call blocker on your phone. There are many options, and the best one is in a matter of opinion. Check reviews and online reviews to pick them, and choose your best one. This helps both your peace of mind, and make sure you automatically reduce the options of potential stalkers to harass you. Now, also learn some self-defense. Tools of the trade. I've had a lot of questions on extra things to carry in a purse, backpack, or even pockets, so let's go over some good and some bad ones. Do keep an emergency card on you. What is it? A business card, blank, that you write something like, "I am in danger, ring the police." Why? To hand someone in public if you're being followed, stalked, or otherwise in danger. When would this best be used? Anytime you want help, but fear retaliation from drawing too much attention to your situation. I'd suggest printing this out on cardstock and laminating it so you can keep it handy and sturdy. LED pocket light. This is the most overlooked item for many. They're cheap now and available all over the place. Well lit means well informed of what that banging sound was. Shying at a creep following you, it might just spook him, since you can make out his details better. It's not a weapon, but light is still your friend. Pepper spray, the old standby. If you go this route, do get one with a marking ink in it. If you can't find it in your local stores, order from Amazon. Even if said harasser runs, chances are you'll tag part of him/her with that ink, and it doesn't wash out easily. Perfect for a police lineup. Canes and sword canes. This is a hotly debated situation. always pick a cane. Why not sword canes? In many states in the US and in many other places, they're a concealed weapon. That's a felony. You don't want to get yourself busted while trying to help protect yourself or another. A cane, on the other hand, is a good prodding and poking tool, and God forbid you need it. A good whack to the knee of a potential assailant should make them think twice. Stun gun. Please check your local laws on these. I don't want to get someone busted for this one. If you can't carry one, I do recommend the pepper spray option. Why knives aren't the option? Now, carrying a knife is legal in some states, but in others, it can get you arrested and or harassed. But if you have a bigger worry in flash decision situations, pulling said knife out, opening it, and trying to intimidate someone who is obviously already this far along and trying to creep on you, I hate to tell you this, but the odds aren't going to be in your favor. The other very vital reason? Short range. Pepper spray works faster, reach farther, and frankly, you're trying to defend, then retreat, not stick it out and fight a battle. The flashlight option is a must no matter what you carry. Lastly, I cannot stress a cell phone enough. Don't have one that's hooked up? Still charge and carry one. Most companies are required to let you dial 911 or whatever emergency number is in your local. I would also advise you to pick up a lovely book Redditors galore here turned me on named The Gift of Fear by Gavin de Becker. It goes into excellent detail on trusting those instincts that alert you with things that are wrong. I cannot recommend it enough. Home security for peanuts. This is something I got quite a few emails and DMs on, and I feel like I should properly address. The worst thing a stalker / creep can take from you is a sense of security. And we tend to try and associate family with security and home with security, so let's set that in your favor. Keep in mind, we aren't building Tony Stark Iron Man things. We aren't spending a fortune. We're using simple tricks and simple devices to up your chances of spooking off crazy. The old standby, the motion light, annoying sure, but cheap if you explain the creep situation to neighbors. And you should have immediately get on the same page with this one. Set that light to be damn near as sensitive as an actor / actress winning an Emmy. You want it going off if the wind blows wrong. You want it bright. It's a pain for someone who wants to creep around in darkness and have to fight the bright light all the time, and it's lovely for you. Hell, it's lovely for the neighbors, who might be concerned about their own safety too. What you might not see, they might. The camera dilemma, yes. These can be rather costly, true, depending on the setups. However, I'd advise against buying the fake ones. Nowadays, there are many guides on using a Raspberry Pi, some old gear, and a simple webcam to do the same exact thing. I stand by this as a stellar option. You want them pointing on the dark spots the lights don't cover. Time-lapse recording is wonderful, sincerely amazing as evidence. Voicemails. We all know crazies love to hear themselves talk, doesn't it? Threatening voicemails? Save all of them. Every damn one. In a police report, these are lovely. Get enough. And a simple worry becomes a mountain of evidence. Do not underestimate this. Are you the keymaster? Stop hiding the house key. Honestly, if you're prone to losing it, do a little hand sewing. Stitch in a flap and pocket to hold the house key in a hoodie. Hell, put it in a 3D's bag. Anything. But around your very home, the less opportunity you have to let someone enter, the better. Automatic plugins? Ironically, these still work well enough. It's not rocket science to imagine if a creep thinks you're all sleeping, they're going to be more likely to get bold. Keep one set for a main floor room. When you all go to bed, you want the illusion that someone is awake even when they're not. Hell, hook a second one up to a stereo on an FM station. Make it sound like someone is a little busy in the house, and you give a good damn pause to someone's considering breaking a window. Going gorilla. It may sound silly, but yes, I've seen it work. Cans across strings in places they wouldn't expect, as in twine, with empty and clanky soda and beer cans strung through, or versatile, near the bottoms of, say, windowsills. Nice to hear some clanking before someone gets right up to peering in. Mix and match things like that. You'd be surprised what you can find, and how creep you can get that kind of enforcement working. DIY stalker trap. This is very old school, as an older world. It isn't always an option, but if it is, and you notice things like footprints around certain areas more than others, it's not a bad idea. The general idea is to dig a hole about 1 foot deep and of a decent diameter in a circle. Near the bottom, some sticks jutting upwards at an angle will seal the deal. Cover this up with light things like leaves, nothing too heavy. This isn't the most legal option, I should warn you, but I am giving you an idea of the last resort home defense. So you've got a creep. Alright, so you've landed yourself in a situation. Make sure you set up a fake name. If not, now's a good time. Even if they know your real name, any confusion you can throw at a stalker or a creep is good. Right now, public is your friend. Well-lit places, stores. Make sure you walk up to clerks, other folks. Be brave enough to alert someone with what's going on. You never know if that walk home is going to be safe. So make sure you up your odds. Again, I repeat this later, but tell people about the creep. Do not ignore odd signs and sounds. Animals get spooked a little too much, acting weird near the door and windows. Ring the police immediately. Bring a possible prowler, crashing sounds, etc. Do the same. Ignoring the creep only lets them think you're getting away with a level of invading your space and your life. You want to minimize this. You want them to be aware that you know the moment something is off in the place you live. Easy marks are what they usually want. Turn the tables. Creeps usually depend on one thing: their plan. Now, it's impossible to determine what someone is thinking, and let's be honest, crazy is a whole Disneyland of fetishes, likes, and weird signals. Someone perceives you send them, that gives them a right to bother you, if possible, and they are following, but not running after you. Or, if you had to talk to them, and they are literally too close for you to avoid, wave. Wave to anyone else. Speak very, very loudly. Put them on the spot. It does indeed put them in the defensive. It may even screw up a sick plan of theirs. Mouth the words help to anyone you can, frankly. Modesty is not your friend when surviving an encounter. Bravado is. Make sure anyone you do wave over is someone you don't get an equally bad vibe from. In most cases, running into a store is safest. You can alert clerks and then police. The aftermath. Think of the situation. How dangerous does this person seem? What they look like and where? They seem skittish, nervous, or on medication or drugs. Write every detail about them you can on paper, including and especially times. Every encounter, every window peek, everything. If possible, transfer that to a notebook. Hard copies on papers are still the best evidence. Time helps stop alibis. Tell friends, tell parents, alert neighbors. Local shop owners, why all these? The more eyes that see this creep around, the more talk begins generating. Trust me, someone who gets labeled creepy in a neighborhood by enough people won't get a moment's rest. You want that level of safety for you. Again, I see folks often say, I know I should have told someone. First step after a creepy encounter, tell someone without fail every time. Yes, every time. Ring police with your notes, make a report. That puts the creep on file with police. This is important. Think not just of yourself for a moment, but other possibilities this person might be harassing. Enough reports means more eyes on them. Again, you want this. After all, they could use this time to play the victim card or even mind games. You keeping that report starts a chain of proof you need to halt the drama and bullshit in your life. Use that as peace of mind. Lastly, make sure you go back to that name. It's not just a fake name, it's a code. Get used to saying it some, so when the moment happens, and I pray it never does for anyone here, you won't stall in saying it. If you're Jerry from Maine, now you're Tom from Ohio, who's just visiting a family for a day or two. The difference is that name's meaning, it's safety. It's a let's get the hell out of here, please. Social stalkers in bars, clubs, parties. Firstly, the golden rule, do not ever set your drink down and walk away. No, not even to turn your back and talk to another friend. Assume someone will slip something in it. Why? Because for every nice person is a mean and creepy one. Chances are, if they see a drink drop by a guy or a girl they dig, you're making an easy mark. You want to avoid being anything close to that. Music is loud in any one of these settings. Never go to any one of these three alone. Charge your phone before going out and establish a simple hand signal for help. Use a friendly system of bailing one another out, avoids pushy men and women and creeps. Again, make it casual signs, things they won't notice, but friends would. I often tell folks to do the old scratching the chin thing. It's not a big deal, but it lets your friends know you don't want to be talking to whoever is bothering you. At a bar or club, do not hesitate to tell a bouncer about said person. It's our job, and trust me, from personal experience, we often do that job because we want to help others. You aren't a bother, you are a person who we want safe. Never forget that. At a party before going, have a backup friend, and let said friend, or even a group of them, know exactly where you'll be. Address, the folks who might be there. This cuts down on the need to explain more, and frees you up to get the hell out of there if things go south. Social awkwardness versus creeps. I think it's a good idea, in closing, to know that there is a difference between the two. A person smiling at you and waving doesn't instantly denote the next serial killer. It may be someone who has no idea how to socially approach someone they find attractive. What if I see someone else I think is in trouble? The worst thing we as a society can do is ignoring others in trouble or need. It is vital to help, because that person in trouble also has a family, and you want the help of someone in a time of need yourself. Step 1, assess the situation. Step 2, check in. Step 3, make a difference. Step 4, thou doth protest too loudly, creeper. Step 5, follow it through. And yes, it may seem like you did jump the gun, that it may have been a silly situation, right? Perhaps it was innocent, but there's no harm in simply hopping in a conversation. Read the body languages. Look at both persons' eyes. Use your own judgment at the very least. Helping another when it's clear and violent danger. If you're witnessing someone being assaulted, robbed, or at the very least, shoved around again, do not stand there and witness. White might be a potential murderer. Knowing you could have helped is never ever going to leave you, not to mention the victim you could have saved. I do not expect nor advise you to yank out a gun and go shooting anyone, nor do I want you in harm's way any more than you do, but you still have options. Number 1, rush forward and yell as much as possible. The police are on their way! Might be a bluff you shout, but if someone plans to hurt someone and hears that, it's better than hearing nothing. And will at least buy some time. Number 2, as soon as you're close enough, dial the police, emergency, local number. Hold the phone near your mouth, but keep yelling at the person and talking clearly. Warn them against stepping any closer to the victim and or doing anything more. Number 3, if you have training in self-defense and feel comfortable, get between the parties and break it up. Again, be loud, draw attention. Pepper spray does wonders. Drop the assailant with it, and again, ring the police. Above all, be the buffer between you and victim. If you're too scared to get close, then at the very least, ring the police and be verbal. Loud. Scream things. Draw so much attention that everyone nearby cannot ignore what's happening. Use your instincts. This is without a doubt the most honest advice out of this whole article.